Welcome everyone to the third and final day of week 1 in PEL. It's been 10 intense games to watch and analyze so far. If you haven't seen the previous ones, do feel free to find them here on the YouTube channel. And also there's all the follows and buttons and things you can press to support. I appreciate that. It's up to you. It really is. But yeah, this is gonna be day 3. It's gonna be 5 games, 2 on Miramar, 1 on Erangel. No, 2 on Miramar, 1 on Sanhok, and then 2 on Erangel. So thank you for tuning in, and let's get going. Day 3, game number 1. Plane is El Azahar over Monte-ish. Pretty decent. Do we have any change in scenery? No. It all looks pretty standard. Seems like the DA and Gamer Legion kind of, I guess, not fight, but a little engagement for control has ended. And wow, that is a northwestern circle. Also, if any of you guys ever wondered that this thing right here, if you copied that right over here, it looks like a guitar. Like it looks like a guitar split in half. Now you can never not see it, you know? Now you can never unsee it. Also, the craters up here, I'm gonna draw this for you, and this part down here. Then you can use your imagination yourself to connect the dots. You know, there are some things that once seen can never go unseen, and now I have put that into your brains. in any case, circle 1 pubs is gonna be northwest again. Rotation no goes, and yeah, so you can pretty much locate this and this as to being areas that if you're on the east side of what I'm drawing right now, you don't want to go through there. So you will want to go either up over here or underneath here. And this also, like, this just makes it even harder, right? Because if it continues in like this, so the line is actually more looking like this, and this red is in it too, then it becomes more about like you can go up like this rotation, but I'd be surprised to see anyone go like this. Like I wouldn't expect to see anyone pushing over the top like this. It could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I would be very surprised if it did. So circle 1, it's gonna be western rotation. Obviously, with edge rotations like this, you cannot go into what I just drew. Everything that is west or left side of this black shadow, you cannot go into. This is inaccessible terrain. It's a big cliff. You cannot even parachute there. Believe me, I've tried. You cannot go there. So you cannot have those whole around the, like, you know how when you have a circle that hard shifts on one side, for example, had it gone here, some teams like to go around and play it from the other side. This you cannot, like, it's physically impossible to do because half the circle is outside the map, and not half, but you know what I mean. And you cannot enter the area from here. So you'll have teams trying to make the rotations over the top from here. I would assume, for example, N47, it would be very, very likely that they would just hug the wall all the way over and take a spot somewhere up here. And then in the center, and that's where it's always interesting, right? In the center of the circle, what can we play from there? El Pozo, nobody wants to sit in El Pozo. You have a huge field here. Nah. You have a hilltop. Really good spot. Hilltop, really good spot. The church area up here, pretty decent. Compound up here. Area up here that you can play around, pretty good too. Hilltops. And you can sit on the other side too. Other than that, there's not a whole lot in the center to really play from. And when these two, we'll draw them in red. When this is, it's not unplayable because you can go into inside the city. There's just so much risk involved with playing from a city. And when this big of a chunk of the center is gonna be, I would assume at least to see both Tixu and Semi leaving El Pozo. When this much of an area is, we'll call it unplayable. It's not that it's actually unplayable. It's just, it's an area that most teams most likely would not be using this early in the game. When such a big part of the center is a no-go, then that forces, because normally, let's say this was anywhere else, we're gonna completely ignore the fact that El Pozo is here. So we'll say there could be a team in a compound here. There could be a team in a compound here. There could be, this could be a split, right? A 2-2 split from one team. One team could have a compound down here. They could be split like this, right? And that would mean that so many more teams would be able to play the center. But because we have this whole area now that is not going to be played, then the guys that were here before, they're going to be sitting here instead. The guys that would have sat down here, they're going to be sitting down here instead. And then the guys that would, in the other case, have been here, they're going to be forced down here. The guys that would have sat here, they're going to be forced out here. So everything kind of gets pushed out, which means that for the guys that are coming in late, that are used to have this much room to work with in the circle, now all of a sudden that room becomes this much. So it's a tricky area to play, especially a combination of two, A being the center, B being the fact that you cannot access. I mean, this much of the circle is literally unplayable. You cannot rotate on such a big, like if you only look at the edge of the circle, I don't know how many degrees of a circle this is, but if this is 180 being half, and this is almost half of that, so it's like 100 degrees of the circle, 100 degrees of the 360 you cannot cross through, and that makes rotations extremely hard. Even though it's only circle one, it's only circle one. It's only circle one. You can see everyone is trying to do the best they can in terms of crossing around the top, crossing around the sides. It's just extremely hard because you know where to anticipate teams from. Teams are gonna set up traps like we see right here, Desperados and an N47. Page stops. He saw Tommel go through, and he says there's gonna be more people coming. Shoot towards Simsy. They're gonna be forced to fight. Liquid hears it. Let's dip. No reason to take engagement this early. GMT goes up, tries to see if he can third party something. He's just running all the way there. Come on, I can find a kill somewhere. That's not at all how GMT sounds. I cannot make a good Finnish accent. That could be fun. But he goes up to try to see if he could get a kill somewhere, which doesn't happen. 7, they're continuing their rotation all the way around the side. New circle pops, and the center remains the same. But because we're already shifting out one circle, and we've lost, oh, we've lost one full team. Actually, that does make a difference. But we've only lost 6 players. This is still this has gone from a unplayable area to a, if we don't have anything else to play, we can go here. And you can see NIP, they're playing the edge, right? They don't want to go inside the city, because that's where we talked about it in the last video. That's where you have a billion angles. It's full RNG. There's no way of preventing that. And that is, to a certain extent, what competitive PUBG is all about. Prevent RNG, know what's ahead of you, and know exactly what you have to deal with. That's going to set you up for the best. Like, if you can avoid all the random factors, then, I mean, it's not guaranteeing that you're going to win, but it's going to put you in a much better situation overall. So TSM, they try and take the other edge. They'll take the edge of the city. Nobody wants to take the center of it. Nobody wants to be in the field. And again, that's a lot of the map not being used. I mean, just percentage-wise of this circle that we're in not being taken control of. We'll see everyone rotating, and there's room for everyone right now. 7 and N47 fighting each other. GMT again. GMT just wants to find kills, but at the same time, as much as it looks fun because he's just like, oh my god, where are all my kills, it's also a have you guys ever played that game where you're it's like there's a, I think it's a really old game, there's like a dots bouncing around, doing on the edges, doing, and you have to be this little thing that goes in, and then you have to chew off part of the circle, or part of the square. So you go in, and could you cut that off? And then they bounce according to the new square. Then you cut more off. That's kind of what GMT is doing right now. As long as he can, I mean, the fact that they push up here instead of pushing down here, that means, oh, he's gonna go up there. Make sure we don't want any leaks. We don't want anything flowing this way. If I can stand up here and have presence and make sure that these guys cannot push, because look at how much control. If we pin, like if we make a draw on both how much they can see, but also physically where the liquid players are, you can see all the way over here. We'll just stop at the compound, but they pretty much have vision on this. On a circle, there's 15 teams alive. Look how much control that is on a 56 player circle. where we've already counted out some of these areas that are arguably not going to be played, right? This is a hell of a lot of a circle to be able to have control of. And they're trying to maintain that, obviously, for as long as they can. So they're sitting forward, split. GMT pushes back down now. Circle pushes east. Wait, is that a face circle? Huh. I don't know why, but these circles, they just... Face and Navi, they're sharing them. So circle goes south. Again, this field is not at all optimal, but we might end up seeing teams forced to go in there. There are other areas down on the southern side as well that you could argue would be somewhat unplayable. Ends, they rotate around. Good rotation. They know Monte is open. Or at least anticipating it. Udyr is up on the top. Skooma. Also, for as far as vision goes, this whole area is completely isolated because of this. You have a big mountain, like mountain ridge line here, that blocks off all vision. So if you're sitting on the backside, you can only see down here. Or you can only see up here. You can kind of maybe see through the middle, but it's very hard to scout anything from the backside of this. And I think that's why we saw Udyr be up here, then go down underneath. It's very hard to see, like it gets blocked off here, the vision. So it's very hard to scout forward if you're sitting up here, which is also, again, a very big part of the circle. Okay, new circle pops. Gamer Legion are clapping their hands. We have now a situation where all these teams that went into El Pozo early, they now know that there's so many teams around them, so they cannot leave in vehicles, obviously, because they're going to get shot at. As soon as they enter that car, boom, they're going to be dead. G2, they can try and push in from the north. Everything here is taken already. If Liquid keeps this two-way split, I would be very surprised. I am strongly assuming that James and Ibiza push over to Samty and DMT. I would be very surprised if that didn't happen. Ends, they're gonna stay. I don't know if Mikas is gonna push up, but he probably is. And Ends can't really do anything from here other than staying and hoping not to get crashed. Gamer Legion, same situation. They can't really, like, they would have to full body peek down. They can try and contest FaZe if they decide to peek anything, or if FaZe gets crashed by another team, they can maybe third party that. But they always have the fear with Samty and GMT being on the backside that could be a thing. Mikas gets to the compound. Everything is just, I mean, right now, this is what's going on. Everyone here, look, let's make circles on the compounds. Everyone knows how many teams are inside of this. Look at this. Nobody's moving. Nobody inside the circles are doing anything. Everything south of this, with the exception of these guys that have to move eventually, everything down here is completely frozen right now. Because everyone is waiting for this to happen. And once this has happened, that's when you make a play. You don't know if someone's just going to randomly crash your compound. Just like we saw right there with Nellas pushing up. They have to play according to the result of this. And now the result is there. New circle pops. Then you move again. And that's exactly how you play this game pretty much. Pinpoint locations of your opponents. Know what to do and how to play. Find your way into the new circle. And once you get a spot, if you get a spot, you don't have to lay low as in you have to hide. But if you don't have to leave, you're not going to leave. Unless if you play public games and just run around and chase kills. So FaZe, they stay in the compound for a while. Game Legion, they're going to sit tight where they are. They get the circle again. Gotta say, Bjorn, if you're still here. Last 2 days have been some good days for you. Digital have to cross. They're obviously going to try, but it's not going to be easy. FaZe need to... Well, they actually don't need to do anything. All they have to do is hold off Reciprocity in getting up here. Ends are going to help a little. Reciprocity goes down. T-Bone out as well. Game Legion, they're still not contained. They've sent Bjorn out on the edge. Ooh, that's unfortunate. He was like the... I think in this situation that Bjorn was trying to get info on, I'm not sure, on Liquid, but gets shot at from Uber and then goes down. That's unfortunate because this allows, you can see as soon as he goes down, Liquid can now push over the top and now they can sandwich Game Legion. That's like a complete nightmare scenario for Game Legion. They just get completely sandwiched, eliminated. That went as soon as Bjorn goes down, this goes completely as I expected that it would. Ends can stay in the compound for a little while. That's a huge, like, this is a big, for those of you guys who don't know, big uphill push from here. This is going to be two different fights now. This is going to be a fight and this is going to be a fight. Like, these guys aren't gonna care at all about what's happening here, and these guys, these guys don't give a rat's ass about what's happening down here. So it's two different 1v1 team fights right now. They leave, they push up. I don't know if they know that Mithralis is down there, but now they push up, try to get kills. Ooh, that's a good double. Mithralis does get a knock onto one, but it's not gonna matter. Uber and 8C are in a 2v4. Again, Hilltop, Rustadmar tries to play with the cover. They know the circle is gonna be in the middle. Uber gets one, gets two, okay. Gets the flush in as well. Trifly's crawling for info. 8C goes down. That's the backbone. That was the safety. Now Uber is the front guy without any intel on the back, you can say. Rustadmar goes down. Please tell me Uber didn't just 1v4 ends. I mean, all fairness, 8C was a big part of it, but the worst thing is I don't even know how ends could have played it any different. I'm trying to figure out how they could have played it. I mean, obviously they know. I would imagine for us. I mean, they know exactly where they are. Of course, it's a hard terrain to fight in. Rustadmar is staying below to get the info. The main thing for Rustadmar is you cannot get knocked down here. And he actually stays alive for a good while. But as long as this fight, like, his job is to make sure that they cannot push underneath. As long as he makes sure they don't push underneath, then it's a 3 versus 2, and they know they can isolate them to this. Because Rustadmar has all the vision. Like, Rustadmar can see. Actually, he can. Like, this is the only thing he cannot see. Right? Rustadmar cannot see this if we are Rustadmar's eyes right now. So as soon as 80 starts pushing underneath, like this, or as soon as Uber comes underneath to flank, that's going to be where his role becomes important. He needs to make sure that they cannot push around the side of the hillside. I can see it, but I don't think, King, that I'm allowed to show PEL replays on my stream. Had I been allowed to use Pro League replays, I would use replays so much more in my analysis videos. But I don't think I'm allowed to. That's why I haven't done it. We saw Starladder with the face it, or the Starladder with the, what do you call it? The CSGO major. They were banning people on Twitch and stuff for using Starladder things. So I'm just not even gonna attempt it. But they're in a 3v2, and I guess Uber just, I mean, they just outgunned them. 8 tags Mikas once. I don't think they're, at this point, I don't think they're anticipating Uber to be right on the top. Trifly goes down. 80 tags Squeaky. And again, this is, that's what people tend to not see, because everyone just goes, oh my god, Uber 1v4, ah! But look at this. 80 tags Mikas. Uber knocks Trifly. 80 tags Squeaky. At this point, he's damaged both Mikas and Squeaky. So Uber gets a clean 1v1 on Trifly. And then I mean, Mikas is already low HP from being shot by 8C, right? So Uber gets Mikas in a low HP fight. 8C tags Rustadmar, but gets knocked. And because Rustadmar is shooting 8C, Uber can get the knock on towards Rustadmar. So 8C has had impact on 3 knocks so far. So much damage done by 8C. And then Squeaky obviously was low from before. Oh, no, wait, did he get tagged as well? He did get tagged early, but I think he managed to heal through that. And if he didn't, then 8C actually damaged everyone except Trifly. So this is just one of those situations where, because the kill feed says Uber, 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 then the chat is gonna go, oh my god, 1v4, ah! But 8C did damage on pretty much all the players. So it's not a 1v4. But it is. Statistically, if you only look at the numbers, it is a 1v4. But 8C was a very, very big part in that. But still, it doesn't change the fact that that should probably never have happened, and Uber played it extremely well. Very, very interesting. It's just funny how chats in general always go completely bonkers over something that might not have been as insane as it was. But it was impressive, for sure. Not going to take anything away from them. That was game 1. Now we'll go into game number 2. And again, if you guys have any questions along the way, do feel free to ask. Yes, good to go. Southern Plain. There are X amount of teams that have really gotten to like going north. We have Ratio Edge up in Cruz del Valle. 7 has been looting north. They're now taking south split compounds, whereas Ratio Edge, they've taken Valle, and that allows for N47 to go Porto. Makes sense. Oh, that's a good circle for them. Island circle. Probably not gonna happen, but I think I would have known if there had been an island circle in PEL. It would have been spammed so much on Twitter that I wouldn't be able to avoid seeing it. So other than the fact that, if we just talk prior to rotations, other than the fact that there's a lot of water, which of course is not somewhere people will go, then you have Las Leones as a pretty big chunk, just like we saw with El Pozo in the previous game. Nobody, I would assume, is going to play inside Las Leones in this like the early game. You have the hilltops around Las Leones that are good for info, but I would not assume to see anyone stay inside. And that also means for rotations, unless if you're rotating really late, I don't think anyone is going to opt to stay out here. Teams will go either around to play the compounds on the south side, take the hill sides, or push in from the south. I think the majority of teams would be coming in from down here, and then spread out somehow. But already now we have our kind of rotation paths to the circle pretty narrowed down. Like if we exclude all of this, then you can see already now that it's very narrow in terms of like the bottleneck that teams have to go through. Look at this. They're all going through. All these guys going underneath. Going underneath. They're all following the paths, right? And that's where it becomes scary. Following the path, following the path, following the path, following the path. Knights, they go through as the only team. So it's 1 out of 14 teams to not follow the path. Holy whereward, that's a bad circle. So now everyone is already, except for Crow Crowd, who came in really, really late, everyone has already gotten past Las Leones. And now we have a circle where there's more water than land. I actually think, yeah, this has to be more water than land in the circle. And first of all, that's horrible. Second of all, it's horrible. Teams have to really, really speed forward and get down, get somewhere. And this is just, I mean, everybody knows that there are so many players in such a small circle that you cannot go aggressive here. If you start aggressing on anything, you're going to get third-partied. G2 take control of the south side. I like that. They can make sure no one comes from above. And they can also make sure that no one gets to push underneath. And they have a pretty decent chunk of the next circle. Because keep in mind, this is only circle 2, which means that the circle after this one can still shift anywhere. I mean, of course, the dot has to be on land, the center point of the next circle. But the one after that is the one that has to go on land. So let's say this circle now pops like this. It's obviously not going to be that small. Let's say it's going to pop like this. Then you can already, in the next circle, start thinking, okay, so where can the circle after that be? My proportions on the circles were completely wrong. I know that, don't worry. But it was just as an example. So that you can now think, pretty much, you can now be guaranteed one circle ahead, depending on where this next one goes. So everyone's laying low. As I said, nobody wants to fight because nobody wants to get third-partied. What the hell are these circles? Okay, so now we can already start doing the math and say, okay, so where can this circle go that will include as little water as possible? It's obviously not going to go up here because it's going to include water. It could potentially go here, but my bet is that it will go somewhere down here. It has to, right? It's going to go somewhere down here. Because then it includes as little water as it can. We'll see. We'll see what happens in that next shift. And I think this is exactly why now we're starting to see teams crash compounds, because they know. You see how empty the top already is. Nobody's fighting from the north. Everyone is going around to play from the south. Even Crow Crowd, they're going to rotate around and try and see if they can get a spot in from there. Navi sitting down there. Face, they're pushing around further down towards the road. Everyone is anticipating this circle. Everyone is expecting the circle to go up here. Raise your edge, they want to be down here before the new circle pops. Okay, so it goes a little further north, but still. Still, it's close enough to what we anticipated. I would actually assume that by setting it a little further south, there would be more landmass. But I guess it's one of those, the game generates 30 circles type things. I'm gonna make a video on that in a while for the whole how to watch competitive PUBG. And you guys should watch that if you're new to competitive PUBG and if you don't understand how it works with the whole circle 4 shifting away from water. Everyone's gonna fight on the edge. They're gonna be sitting still. These guys are gonna be sitting still. These guys are gonna be sitting still, and everyone else. I mean, this is pretty much just. There's way too many people for a circle that's way too small. So this is just a full-on Sanhok all over again. Like this is just Sanhok all over again. Sitting still, contain, contain, contain. When you play these sort of circles, and you have a compound on the edge. You're on Titanic, you're sinking, and you only have duct tape to fix your boat. You know? All you have to do is just try and make sure that as few people get past you as possible. You can see N47, go out, clear up. You have to make sure that these guys are not getting around you. Now, 80 managed to get in, but they still managed to take out 3 guys, so that's a good job by them. New circle pops. It goes, well, it goes center enough that things are available, but this is an open hill that you can flank around. And I mean, Gemsy's on the other side, but he's obviously, I would assume at least, going to cross. He just wants to make sure that there's no one sitting down here. So he's trying to hold off any pushes coming from this side. In the meantime, his teammates are getting pushed by Navi, and they all end up going down. Gemsy is alone. 80 is chilling. Gemsy is chilling. This is a nice circle. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solos. That's in a 9-team lobby. If there's 18 players alive and you get 9th place when you die, you're gonna get a little tilted, I would assume. Like if you're if you're alive and you see 2 players knocked in your kill feed, 18 alive, that means 15 people left, and you die and you get 9th place, you're gonna be like, what? Are you kidding me? So that's of course not so good. 4 alive in G2, they get the circle, should be able to hold off depending on, I mean, this is where all these solos, right, they come into play. Oh, sorry, it wasn't a solo. There was 2. Sorry guys. But with Rallius, there's still 4 solos. This is just where the solos become the big factors of this. Because obviously they're gonna do everything they can not to be seen. And technically this is just a 2 this is a 2, like a 4v4 or 4v3 I guess. But a 2-team game with a lot of booby traps everywhere. Because you're anticipating one of these 2 teams to win, right? But there's just traps everywhere. Trap, 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 trap. And they're not gonna move. They're just sitting in a corner like this. And whenever you come in, they shoot. I think that is at least that would, speaking of which, that was the first trap. I do see ran into it. Trap cleared. Basically Thailand. I've never been to Thailand, so I don't know. A trap killed another trap. Mithralius is chilling. Empty is chilling. Trap down. 2, make that 3v1. Poker goes down. So the team that ran through the most traps got killed, and that was Navi. But it was a good, nice hold from G2 though. They could have been in a bad situation where all the traps decided to push up towards them, you know? And by traps I mean solos. But they end up surviving. Good game for them overall. Fortunately, they are able to live through it. And that was game number 2. There wasn't that much to go in depth with because we so often had so much water that made it really, really tricky to get an insight on a lot of the things. But now we go over to Sanhok. Woohoo! Everybody loves Sanhok. Let's see what happens on Sanhok. Plane, you can go anywhere. I'm still interested by the fact that these guys get to take, because I don't have the numbers. Oh wait, and these guys are fighting ruins again. They always fight ruins. I don't have the statistic yet to back this up. I will have the statistic after we're done with phase 1 or phase 3. I mean, sorry. I want to know how many games, let's say out of 100 games, how many games end on this island. We have 3 islands, right? 1, 2, 3. I want to know how many of the games go on this island out of 100 Sanhok games with the current settings that we have. My bet, have you seen any drop trends on Sanhok yet? Well, I mean, a lot of the teams are dropping the same places, if that's what you mean. I mean, there's pretty much everyone is dropping the same spots now on Sanhok. But these guys have also been scrimming Sanhok for a while. But my bet is, and I don't have the numbers to back this up, but my bet is that out of 100 games of Sanhok competitively, whenever we reach game number 100, I'm gonna say something like 75% of games will go on this island. It's just so big, and when you have to exclude the water already in circle 3, I'm very certain that that's gonna be the number. Let's see. First circle. You see, now this circle is almost guaranteed to go on this island. Already from circle 1, you can call that. Why? Because you know how that whole phase 4 has to go away from water? That's 1 circle earlier. So even if the next circle goes here, okay, so unless if it hard shifts onto the edge, it's pretty much guaranteed that phase 3 will have more land mass here than it will there. So everyone's gonna try and get to that island immediately. But this is one of those interesting ones where it actually goes to the other island. And then, of course, now people will all try to get over this river as fast as they can. Let's see. Everyone's gonna try and cross. This is gonna be, I mean, obviously TSM, they're gonna try and hold. Panana's been left early. That's interesting. I thought FaZe might stick around a little longer, but they say no. They'll take a center spot. Because, as we know, if you can get a center compound on Sanhok, then you will most likely win the game. So they go center. G2 goes center. They try and crash the same exact compound. That's unfortunate. Could have gone here instead, guys. It was open. That's just, I mean, that's a coin toss. You never know which is going to be open, which is not. 7, go around, circle. Now completely guaranteed to go here next circle. We'll just fast forward. Everyone's coming in from the south. We got 3 teams in the north. TSM has so much control right now. Like, they have all this to themselves. There was nowhere else this circle could go. And now it just takes center compounds. Let's see. TSM and FaZe are alive in the center. ENCE is as well. TSM, FaZe, ENCE. Reciprocity, and I mean, edge fighting, quiet in the middle. Edge fighting, quiet in the middle. New circle pops. Oh, okay, so it goes north. That's interesting. Goes back up to ruins. We've seen this exact circle. Guys, give me 1 second. I want to do a comparison here. I want to do a comparison. Watch this. Well, wait. It's practically the same. What? That was a PKL game from last week. That's from last week. What the heck? That is that's interesting. And the last wait, I just have to bring this up again. As I want to see the end place. We didn't see the last circles. It gets even better. Okay, so now we're here, right? These guys are here. This circle goes over there. This circle goes over there. Next circle goes over there. This circle. Okay, so this one goes a little further away. Do they end at the same spot though? Where does this one end? This one ends on the ridge. This one goes center in the middle. That is still surprisingly close to a circle we've seen previously. Wait, is this even? Yeah, it's gotta be. That's interesting. That is very. I saw this game and I was like, wait, this reminds me strangely much of a game that I've casted before. What the hell is that face? I don't even know who that is. That looks terrifying. That is very, very, very much the same game. Huh. And it ends up being ends, TSM, and ratio at you at the compound for light years who fight for it. That is funny. That is very funny. That is very, very, very funny. Yeah, but they came in late from the north side. I know they had the compound though. They were coming from the other island. So that was Sanhok. I'm sorry, I really want to do proper analysis, but I don't feel like Sanhok is... There's just not a lot to say. I mean, teams go in the center. Other teams have to fight on the edge. And if you start a fight, odds are that you're going to get third-partied. If you get third-partied, odds are that you're going to die. Which teams do. So that's just unfortunate. Let's see now. Back to Erangel we go. Game number 4. One more game to go after this one. This is again one of those planes that we don't see on the opposite side of the map. Milta Power over Prim. And it's a western circle. Huh, okay, we've seen those before. We know what to anticipate. Desperado. Plane doesn't allow for them to go south, so they'll go south. Ratio Edge can't really go yes, they'll go south. NIP want to go north. Or Ents want to go north. NIP is taking control of Lipo. Where is... Okay, so N47 go Prim. I guess an ulterior drop for them. They know nobody's going there, so it's pretty straightforward to get it. Digital, go down south. Crow Crowd, go back to their Gatka spot. And nothing else is new. Nope, it's pretty straightforward. So what do we have in this circle? It's a triple snake fight game. I don't know what that means, Steiner. Oh wait, are you talking about? Yeah, I think I do know what you mean. But let's leave the excitement for the people that didn't get to watch the game. Rotation path. Liquid dipped extremely fast from Pachinki. Is this a 200 IQ play, or is this a really strange thing to do? So they get the essentials in Pachinki, and they know that NIP dropped early. And NIP is probably saying, well, we're not in South George, so nobody else is going to be in South George. But there is a team in South George. I think this might be a setup. Like, they're just setting up a trap for NIP. Probably hiding now in all the buildings. Oh. Empty, that's a scary push. Did they see that bike? Okay. 2 kills. There is no way that NIP was anticipating another team to be in Georgia Bowl. That is a very, very smart heads-up play from Liquid. Truly is an extremely smart call. I have to reach out to them and ask who called that. Like, who made the decision on that. I just wrote to EV. I have to ask him. I have to ask him who the fuck, like, who called that. That is extremely smart. In any case, not a whole lot. I mean, there's plenty of available area. Go to scout, move. Go to scout, move. It's not, this circle is kind of bread and butter for the most part. Nobody's in Pachinki, obviously, with NIP with Liquid going north, so there's gonna be room. But we do still have bottlenecks, and that's where this is so scary, because when you force teams, obviously teams don't want to drive through these fields, right? So when you force teams to go here, and obviously you're not going to go in the water, so that's going to limit your rotation to this. So even though technically there's so much room, it still becomes a no here. Obviously, you cannot drive in the water. Now we're only looking at, okay, wait, we'll just draw it up and then we'll talk afterwards. This is a no. Obviously, you're not gonna be in the water if you're from anywhere else. This is a no. You're not gonna go from here and then go in the water here. That would make absolutely no sense. And this field is really difficult to drive in, and you cannot go in the water here. You can drive over there. This is a no. You can argue that you wouldn't really cross to here either. So this is a no-go. And then you can go over the top, pretty much wherever you want, but you probably wouldn't go into North George in this case. So we'll say that through the field is a no. And like that. So even though, I'm just drawing this up for you guys. Green, go. Green. Go. Even though it's a western circle and you say to yourself, oh, but there's so much room. There really isn't. Look at this. The green spots on the circle is where you can rotate into it from. If that makes sense. You can already now tell the bottlenecks, right? Because you have so much force, you have so many players trying to go this way. But if they're limited to going there or there, it's so easy for other teams to set up, I'm going to draw it in another color, set up here, or here for that sake, or down here, and hold. If they know that they can anticipate it was a southern plane, and it's a western circle, so they know a lot of teams are over here, and they know that the majority of them will pick either A or B and rotate through. So it becomes extremely easy to predict, and you don't even have to like commit anything to it. You just sit and wait for them. There's always going to be spots available in this circle anyway. And you know that if you're rotating somewhat early, that you're going to have a jump on a lot of the opponents, right? So look at what happens if we let it kind of run its own game here. 3 different teams are rotating in the exact same spot. They end up cluster fighting on one jump point or choke point. Other teams are going into this one. It's so predictable that it's scary. Through there. These guys go through this one. They go through exactly this one. Do you see what I mean? I drew this up. Okay, so I just drew up these green and red colors. I drew them up now having not seen this rotation. I didn't watch the start of this game. I only saw the end of it, which was kind of dumb, but we'll get to that. I drew this up not knowing what was going to happen. And they followed it. Not because I said it was going to happen, but because that's the only smart thing to do. And if you as a viewer can, I don't know if anticipate is the right word, but if you as a viewer can figure these things out for yourself, that's why I think PUBG is so fucking amazing to watch. Because even though everything is available, it's kind of not, given how the circles move and how the map functions. And that's what makes it so interesting, because teams have to, it's like you're playing on a chessboard, but it's constantly changing its shape, you know? It's really, really interesting to follow and try and get inside the brain of why does G2 decide to do what they decide to do? Or why does Scoom do what he does? Or just examples. You know what I mean? And I think once you get this kind of an understanding of PUBG, it becomes also a lot more fun for you to watch. That's just me. So all these guys gonna cluster. That's a cluster, but they managed to drive through it in like taking turns. So a fight doesn't really ensue based on it. Base rotates straight into Navi again. Once you're down here, this is a big field that you can't really stop in. So if you're sitting down here, like you can sit in one of 3 spots, right? If you sit in either of these spots early and a team comes down here, then you know you're gonna get a fight. And if you're set up right, you can get easy kills off of it. And since kill points is the main focus right now, then obviously that's what you're gonna go for. New circle pops. Does it include more water? Oh my lord, yes it does. Now this one is interesting for 3 reasons. Field on the northern side can exclude rotations. Quarry on the southern side can exclude rotations. Water, obviously, that is what water is. Water. Fortunately, we are now in a situation where most of the teams are already in. But do you really want to drive through this? I don't know if you do, but you probably can. So there's a pretty good margin for teams to get in this circle, but still, I mean, this is lucky because there's already so many teams inside that, like, as many teams inside as there are. We can see here. Through the points. Ching ching. Through the checkpoints. They don't go through the red. Want it? Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, Reals did it. Wanted is gonna go through as well. They go to take antenna. That's fair enough. I didn't really consider antenna being right there, but it obviously is. So we should have made like a little green one here, because antenna was open. But it doesn't change the fact that you can't really rotate through quarry. You can't really rotate through swamp. We saw that trying to be done by TSM in the previous game. And those force teams to go into clusters elsewhere. Now let's see. New circle. Is it gonna pop? Is it gonna go? There can keep in mind there is still room for one more circle to have water. It's the one after that that is not water. Because this one has a little water, but this also means that because there's not more, then it like the circle can go whatever anywhere it wants, right? Quarry and play is available, but if you draw a line, because the previous circles were the way that they were, look at this. Everyone, there's a billion teams on the east side, right? And already now, a lot of the teams are saying, well, this is going to be yikes. This is a yikes. We're going over the top. We're rotating north around. New circle pops. Boom. You cannot just go straight through. There is quarry. There is swamp. What do? Either you go north around or you go south around. But because so many teams opted to go north on the earlier shift, they will have to go north here as well. And because very few teams came underneath, and the teams that did go underneath have been able to push up to the center. See Navi, for example. They were in the south, right? But because the center is open, I mean, you're not going to stay in the south if center is open. So they can push further north. Game of Legion, they push up. They were sitting over here. They go out and take east control. And because this happens, if you draw a line now through the middle-ish, that's kind of the middle, right? We have 1, 2, 3 teams on the southern side and 13 teams on the northern half. teams, they will know these things. At least I hope they do. And they will know where to anticipate the threats to come from. And right now, I don't think anybody from N47 is looking south. They all have to worry about what's happening this way. Because they know if anyone's going to crash center, it's going to be players coming from north. Because south is already, I mean, kind of taken. But so everyone will be coming in from the north. Because that's where everyone is right now in this game. Base go out east again. They lost one player early. They'll be playing Quarry. Desperado play on the backside. And Navi gonna chill in their compound. I mean, this is just none of these three teams can really move anywhere, and none of them would want to move. You can see right now everyone's just waiting for that new circle to pop. No one is really doing anything. Circle hard shifts to Navi. Surprise, surprise. Swamp still in play. That's on foot. Holy wow! Game of Legion got melted. Yeah, they just got slaughtered. Rustenma, a little bit of help from Knights on the backside. They got completely torn apart. Ratio Edge crashes Shack. NIP try to go through. That's not gonna work. Reciprocity go over to the top to take the fight to face. And again, this circle. Swamp area, you can play in it, but it's really hard as long as Quarry is still in, because Quarry, or from Quarry, you can see into it pretty well, at least in some areas. This field, you cannot play in because, well, this compound is in and this hilltop is in. So that's a no-go. Baguette. You cannot play from there. You cannot play from here. So it leaves you very limited in what you can do. You can play the forest on the south. You can obviously play the compounds. And you can play everything south of this road now because it's still in. Very tricky situation for a lot of these teams. Oh my god. My god, my god. We go into even more difficult terrain. Now Quarry obviously is going to be taken. But the thing is, FaZe obviously don't want to have other teams fighting them. So they say, we're not going to go in the center of Quarry, on the other side. Because right now teams are going to be coming from this side. They again know that the focus is on the north. So they say, if we sit up here and make sure no one comes in, that's going to make it so much easier for us late. Because they're not anticipating anyone to push Quarry from the backside. They're staying on the north to make sure that no one pushes in. Oldamenta gets himself a kill. N47 has to go as well. And since there's nothing down here to play, I mean, you can play the forest, but you cannot play this whole triangle. This is unplayable, right? It's just a big open field. Then they also know that they will force everybody to play here. Buster the Shack God. He's just chilling. He's not in a hurry. I mean, that's why you play the Shack. You just don't do anything. Chill. Do nothing. Circle goes south. Buster, that's unfortunate. You have to move, bro. Desperados, they know they're the only team in the south side, so they can just, well, pretty much take whatever they want down there. Base pushing over the top, not anticipating any more pressure from there. Now they look to focus inward, but also, of course, make sure no one's pushing up on them. Oh, did Buster survive that? That's unfortunate. And then he dies. He got some kill points. That's good. It's good for Buster. How many games after this? There's one more game after this, Tug. There's one more game after this. We've already watched 8 games today. Uber solo has to make a move. Desperados. It's gonna be a tricky situation for them. They got themselves a win on. Oh, it was yesterday. Never mind. Scoom, Nellis, 2 solo players trying to prone their way in. This road is gonna be hard to cross. There's practically nothing to play from down here either. Poker. Timothy is alone. Scoom is alive for now. Oh, that is the ending. Yep, I remember. They're all proning and crawling in on top of each other. Look how long they all get to stay alive for, and then Pokemon Dog wins the game. That was a very interesting ending, where everyone just prones out into the field, and the game ends like that. But that was game number 4, and now we get to go to the last game. Any thought on Desperado's car play? All right. This one? Like this? Whoops. This rotation? Or what do you mean? This is a good play. They know that they're gonna get shifted out from the forest. They know that once the fights end up here, and there's only... I mean... If the issue is, right now, they know that there's still... Like, the main focus is still on the northern side, right? If you split the circle like this circle, they're the only one in the southern half. Oh, it's later. Because I was gonna say, this is a smart play. Car play. Oh, that rotation. This one? Yeah. I think one of the things is if they're sitting 4 guys on a shack, like right now, I think the issue is they moved too late. I think they wanted to rotate up. You can see they're still knocked. They wanted to rotate up and clear this before having to fight this. Because obviously, I mean, they could have gotten the circle as much as they did. It's just that Na'Vi are absurdly lucky with circles these days. And they get it shifted over, so their compound is technically still in. They get to stay, right? But had Simsi and I don't know who rotates with them, Tamil, had they been able to clear this, like had they been able, when they push up, had they been able to run up and clear that, and not sit 4 guys stuck on one shack, then they would have been in a 4v2, and that could have won them the game. Because they could just have split out and ankled them, right? But because they don't get to fight this, and because, I mean, these guys don't really fight, which means all of Navi's focus can be on the guys rotating. Calvin gets, Ultra gets taken down. He goes down to the blue, it seems like. And then they get to focus over here. Poga gets to focus there because Calvin can't help. Calvin tries to take the car and push closer. It's just, I don't know if it's a dumb play. I think it's smart not to have 4 guys on the shack because it was on the edge and there was a big chance that it was going to get shifted out. But whether it's the smarter move to go up here or maybe find a place in the field early, I cannot say. I don't know. I think they just wanted to third party this, but they never got to go there because they got shot at and all that stuff. I don't know. It's one of those, one of the other type situations where it's a coin toss, which is going to be the better play. I don't think it was a stupid play necessarily, though, because you cannot sit 4 guys on that check. You cannot sit 4 guys on that check. Especially not when half of it is out in the blue. And that's the only cover you have is 2 vehicles. Like, you want to bring those vehicles with you into the next circle so you have some cover. If that made sense. I hope that was a good response to your question. Last game. Game number 5 of day number 3. Let's just say we won't do it again. Hi, Simsy. How are you doing? What was the... now I want to know, Simsy. What was the alternative play? Was that the only play that... I don't know who made the decision. But was that the only play saying, we're driving the car over there, and then you did it? Or was there different suggestions thrown in the hat before you... like, before you decided on that one? Because I get the idea, but I think... and I don't know, because I obviously did not hear what you guys were talking about during the game. But I think you went over there to clear the north side of the road. And maybe you weren't expecting Na'Vi to shoot at you as much as they did. Or maybe you were expecting Calvin and Ultra to be able to apply more pressure from where they were than what they did. I don't know, because I get the idea that you wanted to clear the north side and then have a 4v2 against Na'Vi. You drove too early. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. In any case, new game. Again, face. They don't want to go towards Milta because it's too far of a stretch. Huh, melee game. I guess that's a good day to go towards Melee Island when you're face. Not gonna be complaining about that. G2 rotate extremely early. We know they don't like to take boats. They'll bring their cars along. Game of Legion crossover. This is again one of those where... do you guys remember when we did analysis on day 1 where there was a military game too? And I said, because Liquid just committed to it, they just had like insta drove over, right? But they timed it so well because C9 always does the same loot path. He always loots down here to then run up here. And Liquid knows how long time he spends here before he goes there. Look at this. Now they're getting... Gamer Legion has not been this quick at rotating across the bridge before. So they, I think, get delayed by that. But look at the timing. He runs up. They come down. They always know that this is clear. And had it not been because Gamer Legion started rotating, then... Did he run his teammate over? Liquid driving. Then they would have been fine to push as well. And now they are. It's perfect. Do your homework. You will know when to go, pretty much. We felt that we could not drive out because there were people in the hills. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That makes sense. That makes sense. You started driving 1 second before the circle hit, and I should have drove into the field instead. Yeah, that was the alternative play that I was thinking would make sense. That, I mean, I understood that you wanted to clear the north because you were probably aware that there was only... I mean, there was only 8 guys alive in total, and you were 4, and you heard 2 teams fight north, and you knew Navi was still alive. So whether there was 2 people north and 1 in the compound, or 2 in the compound and 1 north, you would know. I mean, as far as teams go, that there were still 3 teams alive. So it makes sense. It makes sense. It was just, I don't know if it was execution or if it was, it shouldn't have been. I don't know. And hello, Sentex. Easy for Ents. Are you spoiling me and telling that Ents wins this game? Because I did not watch the final game yesterday. We'll see. We'll see what happens now with rotations coming in. 1 boat here, 1 boat here. None of them are taken yet because G2 don't like to rotate with boats. Ents winning a game. Omega lol. Is that where we're at? Is the morale that low, Sentex? Wait, why the fuck is everyone fighting in farm? Oh my god. This is why I like the Liquid timing on their push, because they know if we make the rotation when we do, unless if we kill each other, which they kind of do, then we have a clear path. But on the other side, it seems like everyone decides to rotate at the exact same time. Ents is still north. You got N47 north. Desperado's coming down now. And look at this cluster. Everyone is driving into each other. That is really unfortunate. And it kind of it harms all teams. That's the bad thing. I mean, everyone's like, oh, but it's kills. That's good. But it fucks it up for everyone when this happens. 7 up to go for boats. Trabic, unfortunately, didn't get to the boat. Navi crossing with boats. Reciprocity, get that 1 boat. That's free. This boat is still available. Ents, do you see the boat? Will Ents find the boat? N47 get the boat on the backside. Digital probably wanted to go down and get it, but N47 took it. Ents don't take the boat. This boat is still here. Unfortunate. But they do get to cross in vehicles. Do they, though? What? Did Ents just get... The reason I'm reacting the way that I am is because I was not anticipating Ents to be able to rotate as late as they did and get that compound. So Mika stops on top. They scout forward. Makes perfect sense. Now they drive. They time it so they run into NIP. NIP goes out of the cars, but they manage to get across. And Tomil is right here, and Simsi is right there. I guess it's a 1v4 situation with Ultra and Calvin on the other side of the road, so they can't do anything. Now the question is, why did the Desperados have 2 guys in that compound instead of 3 guys up here and 1 down there? That is 900 billion IQ rotation. It's completely blind rotation, and you just send it, and you get center. That is, I mean, that is impressive. That is impressive. I don't know how you make claps in the chat, but Ents, that's a good rotation. I don't know if it was a loot situation, but I don't know if being 2 guys in this compound is the play. As long as you know that there's no one on the boats on the other side, then I think 1 is enough. But it was probably because they rotated early. I mean, they came way north. Didn't you loot Severny this game? Yeah. So they were low, like they were most likely rotating early. The fact that they're down there by the time circle 2 pops means that they rotated earlier. So Ultra probably wanted to get some more loot. That's unfortunate. Ents go past. Clap. Knights on the edge. N47, they came in from boats, so they're gonna play this one on foot, unless if they find a vehicle, which they did, a buggy and a Dasha. TSM plays center. Face takes the crossroads. Liquid in new compounds. 7, they're coming in late. So now everyone... Okay, never mind. Mithralius and DA is still on the other side. And they're gonna die. At least one does. New circle pups. And... Oh, I hate these circles. We have... And I actually... I don't know if all of you guys watched the Grand Slam PEL event. But this whole area here... And it actually hasn't really been changed a whole lot in Erangel 2.0. So it still applies. It's like a big open area where you can't really do a whole lot from. I mean, you can cross through it with a vehicle and whatnot. Here, they were sniping with red dot, K98s, and 2x on M24s. Yeah, that's probably what was the case then, that they needed more loot. That's what I thought it would be anyway. So this is a pretty big portion of the, not exactly the center, but as center as you can expect to get in a circle like this, where you can't really play from. And this hill you can't really play either, as long, I mean you can, but if there's people over here, like if all the other areas are played from, then it's really hard to have, like you cannot sit anywhere up here where you're not going to be visible to some degree. So even though it's center and it's all good, it's extremely hard, like scary to play from when you know that there are teams down here. You know that you have teams on the hills on the other side. And so this just becomes a really, really dangerous place to play. A dangerous place to sit. So TSM, they rotate further west. Makes perfect sense. N40, why do you crash planes in this situation? Oh, they went in. Ah, I didn't see that. Oops. They went in first. They go in. And then I think they wanted to go out actually. I don't know if... Would you play, guys in chat that are competitively minded? If you rotate in from the south, let's say you're down here at this point. If you're down here, would you play planes in this situation? Or would you try and scout over towards the dip and go further? I'm only asking because I'm not a player. I mean, I play PUBG and I think I'm pretty decent at it, but I'm not I'm not as good a player as the games I analyze. So I just want to know if you play from the south. I mean, obviously 7 don't have any vehicles, right? No, they're on foot. So it's limited what they can do. But wouldn't you rather play the south side? I mean, obviously you don't know that this is open, but I don't know. You should assume the corner house is taking... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. You don't know that these are open. But you could scout them. I mean, I was just thinking if you were playing on the south, and I didn't notice that N47, but this is just a hypothetical situation where if you're coming in from the south, I would go to scout here, because you can always backtrack and go to plains. But if you're already in plains, there's no way in hell you're getting over here. I don't know. That's just me thinking. Maybe I live in a world where I can see where everyone is, so it makes it much easier for me to make those calls. G2 splitting on each side, so that makes sense. Braxco has to leave when Knights push around. Huh. Ibel and Vasco leave. T-Bone on the center. They go to make sure no one can push around them. Wheels down. Now all of Knights come to help. T-Bone can't do a whole lot to help them on the backside. They have to leave now. So they end up moving over anyway. Okay, that makes sense. And now the circle, again, keep in mind, this is still the Ikes. So actually we'll leave that mark here. And maybe they're going to plains temporarily to see what corner houses, because 7 was... Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I didn't notice that they were inside. So, and then 7 crashed them at the same time. That's what I was thinking. So this is still a no-go. Obviously, you can't really play out in the fields yet either. You will be able to whenever we get Erangel 2.0. So Knights crash into oil cans or cans and they get killed. NIP has moved around the north. Gaxi is caught in the open. Desperados play the backside. This is a dangerous place to sit if they know that these guys are occupied and they have to shift out as well. So it makes sense. Perfect sense for them to play here. Ooh, Ultra down. Gets rest. Good. And now it's a half-half circle. This is still yikes, which means that it's this much as yikes. And at this point, I would assume everyone is playing on foot. Unless if you're trying to cross the road. So Desperado obviously want to get their last 2 team members over towards them, but they also know they need to contain these guys. I would assume that Simsi and Ultra needs to get over there. And now they're splitting on each side of Liquid. Great hold. That's what I was gonna say. That could be a third party opportunity from behind. But they get knocked. That's lucky. I don't know if they hear this, but I hope they do. This fight prolongs a little bit. Now FaZe gets to third party that engagement. Damn, Desperados. Good job. Was this Upa and 8C overextending on it? Because they're engaging, and we can tell they have a chance. Once the rest comes in, and they have the dip, there's like a little dip thingy here. They could have, I mean, obviously they want to engage on this before the fight is over, so they can actually third party. But they could have waited for Mexi and Fuzzface. Yeah, they wanted to engage. Exactly. They get the knock on towards... Oh wait, they also got a knock in the fight? No, that was only the earlier one. Okay, that was only the earlier one. Oh, and then they take down Fuzzface there. Ah, okay. But yeah, but that first knock was lucky because I think they were ready to move earlier. But because 8C gets knocked there, like had they been... This is gonna be... Let's see the counter. There, now they're ready again. This would have been a 30-second difference, and they would have been caught way out in the open. That is true. That is true. Yeah, exactly. They got completely fucked over. But still, they didn't at this point now. I mean, I know the fight is gonna reset eventually, but I would much rather leave 2 guys up here and then bring 4 guys together. Because right now, Uba and 8C goes to engage, and Fuzzface and Mexi has no way of helping right now. Or do they? Maybe it's just me not understanding the terrain properly. But I don't think Mexi can do anything from this angle to help them, can he? Isn't he on the other side? Isn't this the dip where you can park your vehicles? Then I don't think he can see over, can he? Like, he can't see anything until he's up here, kind of. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just small things. It's small analytical things. So half of the circle is inside the city. The other half is out. This is extremely open. This is extremely clustered. Desperado, what can you do from here? Are they actually gonna stay up on the hillside? Or are they gonna try and crash parking lot or one of the checks? They don't have a vehicle. That's one thing, of course. Not exactly best situation. Circle. Oh my god, that's gotta be a feels bad if you don't have a car when you're Desperados. Ends. Easy for ends, is it though? I mean, they can't really push around the side before they've dealt with Desperado. And I guess their best bet would be to hope that... I mean, these 2 teams won't fight, that's the issue. These 2 teams won't engage each other. So, ends, they would have to... Well, I guess pretty much deal with them. Like, they have to not take circle control or anything. Or there's no circle control for them to take. But they have to not move in and deal with them first. Because once they're dealt with, they have all the, like, they have this available. 1 down, they know Simsi has to move. Yep, they're not gonna do anything until Simsi is down. He goes down to the blue, and now they can start making, like, now they can start pushing around. And they, of course, hope, like, I think all at this point Ents has to hope for is that these 2 compounds are not inside the next circle, which they both are. Feels bad. And now it's just one of those, one wall at the time. Push up to the next block. Push up to the next block. Push up to the next block. And contain, because as I normally, I mean, I don't know if it's been statistically proven, but I don't think a game can end inside of a building. It has to end somewhere outside, like the center dot in the end. It has to be outside a building somewhere. It can be really, really close on the corner of a wall, but it cannot be inside a building. So if Ents can just stay alive outside while all these guys are chilling inside, then they should be all right. Like, so then when you limit how many doors they can come through and whatnot. So the circle centers, they know that the dot is there. So Trifly obviously holding the back, maybe with the help of Rustanmar. Mikas is pushing closer to get more control of the center, and Squeaky is helping hold. And there's only so many doors, right? On this side, you have the 2 doors here, like 2 entrances to this house. There's no windows there. You have a window up here, and the door is on this side. So you have a door out there, a door out there, a window, and a door. So there's technically only really 3-4 things you have to worry about when you're playing this side. You're missing the best part here. 3 of T7 is not inside. Oh, yep, that I'm missing. They're playing on the roof. That is actually crucial information that I'm missing. That is a very, very crucial information that I'm missing. Ledge grabbing, man, it's OP. That is very, very good info because the center, yeah, that is actually game changing. Then it also makes so much more sense that they're not moving. Because I thought that if they were only inside, they would get fucked. But it makes perfect sense that they're up now. Gustav gets one. That allows for Trifley to push over to the side of the wall. But they have to deal with these guys before they can help him. They get help from Iroh. Squeaky puts up. I mean, then of course, now it changes because they're limited to being on the roof as well, right? So if you have, I don't know what utility they have left at this point. But N47 in there. Nellis is proning in the, or chilling in the bottom. Trifley is still up. They all have to get off the roof somehow. This is gonna be an interesting endgame. Yeah, this is a fucking good spot. He's like in the dip in the middle, and like a little putt in the middle there. Squeaky, clutch knock. Oh, down one. So it's a now 2v1v1. Squeaky spots Rory. Oh, that would have helped him though, because I think Rory went to take out Nillas. Rory flushes Mika's. They have to get off the roof though. Catch them jumping, Squeaky. Oh, he gets taken down. Feels bad. Oh, they got the res even as well. That's gotta be a... I was just gonna say that's gotta be a win for TSM. Maybe it doesn't. Nux 2. Oh, okay, Michael wins it. That would have been a crazy 1v3 by Nillas had he won that one. That's an interesting game. That is a very interesting game. I want to see the stats on that. So they get 11 kills from the center. Ends had 10 knocks. Feels bad, man. Got 1 stolen. TSM stole 4 kills. T2 were more quiet that game. Desperado played the hilltop and got themselves 11 points too. That's pretty good. 15 seconds until the last circle closed. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting ending. I did not even think about the fact that you can get up on those roofs. That's a great call by them as well. Once I guess the hill is out. I mean, once the hill is out and once... I mean, not that I know why the fuck anyone would go into the billboard at this situation. But once these two are out, which they are now, you have full control. Like, unless if nades come up, unless if nades come on your roof, then you're pretty much like the no one. You always have a safe spot, right? New home circle? What do you mean, Sentex? What do you mean? Also, for those of you guys who don't know who Sentex is the he's the water boy. He's the water boy for Ents. No, he's a very knowledgeable guy, very smart guy when it comes to PUBG, and he has the pleasure of being the dad for all the Ents guys. That's gotta be a tough task, man. Sentex dad. It's gotta be tough. Thank you so much, Face Circle. Your name is really, I mean, you should make a Smurf account called Navi Circles. Then you have like a 70% Phase 4 to 5 so like circle ratio. That's pretty impressive. Your name, man, that's gotta be the reason they're getting those circles. That's gotta be on you, man. Face Circle, I like the name. That is good content. We both do that. I do content by making videos and stuff, and you do content by bringing up great names. But that was it for the analysis. For those of you guys on YouTube, thanks for watching. See you next time.